I'm gonna show you how I took my mixes from this to this. Now, my approach to mixing is what I like to call the lazy method. The lazy method is about getting the best result out of the least amount of actions. Think of your mix like cooking. If you add too many different spices and ingredients, it's gonna taste bad and you might get diarrhea. Most producers' mixes sound muddy because they try to do too much too soon. So my whole approach comes down to focusing on 4 simple pillars: sound selection, leveling, EQ, and panning. If you focus on just these 4 pillars first, your mix will be 90% of the way there. And then we decide if we want to get fancy with it. Now I'm going to walk you through my entire mixing approach step by step so you can see how I approach each of these pillars in the simplest way possible. Lock in. All right, so before we get into the drums, we're going to address the melody. At the moment, as you can hear, it just sounds like a bit of a mess. So what we're gonna do is just go through each layer one by one. Now, in terms of dBs, I don't generally go by number. I just level the sounds until it sounds good to me. Now, let's go to the second one. That's good to me. We've got this synth bass here. I'm gonna take these higher chords and up them a little bit. And I think what I'm gonna do is lay down an EQ. Just carve out any low end that's coming from it, so it doesn't clash with our bass here. Now let's get into this second section where our top line comes in. Now that's just sounding way too boxy and fuzzy, so let's solo the top line. Let's slap an EQ on that too. I kind of like that saturated sound that it has, but I think it's a bit too strong. So I'm gonna just slap on another EQ and just reduce the highs a bit. Now I'm feeling like this synth bass is too high. Because I really want this top line to shine. Now we've got these vocals that are chopped up too. I don't want the low end from this interfering with the other elements either, so we'll do another EQ. I think what I'm gonna do is make these vocals pan around as well, just to add a bit more movement to the melody. I'm gonna set this to 1 bar, and then we're gonna play with the mix. We're gonna kill some of the low end from the synth bass too. I think I'm also gonna slap some sound goodizer on these vocals too. And just adjust the volume to compensate. We can add even more rhythm to that with a kickstart. Alright, now that's a good start, but a lot more needs to be done. Now the melody mix isn't quite where I want it yet, but if we spend the next 20 minutes obsessing over each layer, we're just gonna waste time and fall out of flow state. So what I'm gonna do is lay down a drum pattern, and this will help me dictate how I'm gonna level the other sounds. Now, like I mentioned before, sound selection is everything. You can have the best leveling in the world, but if you've got shit sounds, the beat's gonna sound like shit. So I'm gonna go for pretty organic sounds like this, 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 and this. Now, I do not feel like making a standard trap beat, so let's make something a bit groovy. Right, so for the hi-hat, we're just gonna do 2-step. I'm gonna play with the velocity of every second note. On our master, all we're gonna do for now is just add a soft clipper, a little bit of fresh air before that, just to add a bit of brightness to the mix overall. We're gonna be adding more to this master chain later, but for now, this is all we need. Now with our kick, we can just do this. Now for the kick, I'm just gonna raise the velocity to the max. Now I want that kick to hit a bit deeper, so we're gonna go down to about A sharp. All right, now that's sounding cool so far. All we've really touched so far is the velocity of these hi-hats. Like, we haven't even done any leveling on the sounds yet. Maybe the kick could go up a little bit. Now this kick we laid down is like the heart and soul of the beat. It's dictating the rhythm. So I want it to really stand out in the mix. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select my kick, right click on this arrow, and I'm gonna sidechain it to every melody layer that I have. Let's just solo one of the chords so it's a bit more obvious what I'm doing. We'll make a limiter. In the sidechain section, we're gonna select our kick. Now essentially all we've done is sidechained our kick to our melody. So every time the kick hits, the volume ducks a little. So let's play with these settings. Let's drop the knee down a bit. Can do is just take this limiter, select this arrow, hold down save preset as, and I'm just going to drag it onto all of these individual layers. You could send all of your melody layers to a bus and then just do a fruity limiter on that. We can do this by holding control, selecting all of our melody layers, going to an empty mixer track, right clicking on this arrow and clicking route to this track only. Then we can just apply the limiter to this. But I want the option later down the line to adjust each limiter if I want to. So now let's play it with all of the melody layers and just the kick. Let's up this snare a bit. As you can see, outside of using a sidechain, all I've done is EQ, level, and pan. We're gonna do a bit more later to add some more polish to it, but for now, let's just add some bass. We've got this 808. If you wanna work with me, one-on-one, to fast track the quality of your production in weeks instead of years, hit the link in the description. Back to the video. What I'm gonna do now is select this box next to the kick, Control C, then I'm gonna Control V it here into the 808. Now I'm just gonna make this pattern follow the melody. Control L on all of these. Also gonna copy that fruity limiter onto here as well. Let's drop these vocals a bit. Let's go into the synth bass EQ. Cut a bit more out of it. I think that 808 could use a little bit more like aggression. So I'm gonna add a fruity fast distort, but I'm gonna make it subtle. Let's drop the threshold. The mix a little. Let's drop this down. mess up this open hat a bit. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up an Ozone 9. Now all I've done is add an EQ to that. You can literally just use the Fruity Parametric EQ and do this exact same thing. Essentially what I've done is drop the low end just a little bit and up the mids and the highs. This is kind of to tame that bass while giving a bit more clarity in the mids and highs. Let's play with and without. So you can still hear that bass, but it's not really taking over the whole beat. If you're making like trap and placement type beats, don't feel like you have to be using stuff like Ozone. You can get away with just a soft clipper and fresh air. Now that's sounding cool so far, but I really want like the high end to sound a bit wider, just to give some more atmosphere to the instrumental. So we're gonna hit on this plus, we're gonna open up a imager, and I'm gonna make a band here just so we can solo the high end. Now I want my mids and my lows completely as they are. I don't want to widen them, I just want to keep them the same, which is why we're using these bands. So I'm just going to split this into 2 tiers. Super high, which we're going to make a little bit wider. Then these, which we're just going to widen a little bit. Now let's listen with and without Ozone. Maybe let's drop that snare a bit. Finally, I'm gonna add a bit of OTT. Again, just to reiterate, if you're just making placement beats, you do not have to be using all this shit. I just personally like the way it makes my beats sound. And it's just gonna bring the volume of the lows and the highs closer together in volume, so the mix sounds a bit more consistent. Maybe we'll crank up this kick a bit. I think maybe if we pan this top line a bit, it would add some cool movement to it as well. So we'll add a pancake, but we'll make it fast. Let's drop the mix way down. Now having an absence of sound is another good mixing technique you can do as well. We can just make chops here. Going to this open hat, then I'm just going to make these pan like every other note. Now we can just add finishing touches with stuff like risers. I'm going to make this riser pan a bit to the left as well. And we can add something like a vox. Then pan the vox to the right. So it kind of goes in one ear, then out the other. So now that you know how to mix clean, I've got a technique for you that will make it so you never struggle to make melodies again. And you can see that by checking out this video next.